I'm happy to announce I'm staying at Arizona. We've been able to get some things done the past couple days. North Carolina is an amazing place. Michael Jordan, the phone call never did happen, so I'll put that to rest. But, come on. We all idolized MJ. And, I don't how many hours I watched that Come Fly With Me video. With that being said, though, I made a decision that, my Michael Jordan is Steve Kerr. And I'm proud to be an Arizona Wildcat.
And Michael said, Phil, I don't feel real comfortable in these situations. So maybe we ought to go in another direction. Why don't we go to Steve? So I thought to myself, well, I guess I got to bail Michael out again.
We love it there. Literally, my parents have a house there. My wife's parents moved there. My wife's sister moved there. All our kids are there. We have grandkids now. The roots are getting pretty deep. And you know what? You can grow roots in the desert. Trust me.
Tommy Lloyd ain't going nowhere. He's staying in Tucson for the duration to keep coaching your Arizona Wildcats. How about that? But did you really think he was going to leave? Come on now. Come on. Well, many of you did think he was going to leave. But that's not the biggest problem I have. The problem I have is that we continue to define ourselves by who's coaching our team. We got to get away from that mentality. This is a fabulous university that we have at the University of Arizona. It's a university that stood for over 100 years. And like Tommy said last week, there's eventually going to be another head coach of this Arizona Wildcats basketball program. This is a program. And a program should never be about one person. It's about what's been built. Starting with Pop McHale back in the day. All the other coaches, Coach Inc., who ran this program, helped build the foundation of Arizona basketball. Fred Snowden in the 1970s got the thing going when the Wildcats first moved into McHale Center and became that place that nobody wants to change the name about. Nobody wants to leave or build a new building. And then Lute Olson came to town and cemented it by taking the program to 4 Final Fours. 4 Final Fours. Thank you, Luke Walton. And then Sean Miller came in and continued it with three Elite Eight appearances and Sweet 16s. And yeah, he fell short of getting to the Holy Grail where we sit here today. And then Tommy Lloyd took over. And outside of 3 years in Sacramento, where I had to spend St. Patrick's Day because there was no second basketball game, he has taken it now back to the Final Four level after going to 3 Sweet 16s in his first 5 years. We've got a program. And yes, we love Tommy Lloyd, and we want him to be the head coach of this team, and we didn't want him to leave. But a program should never be about one person. And that's the mentality I think that we as fans of this team need to get away from. If Tommy Lloyd had left, so be it. Congratulations. You bettered yourself. You came here. You kept this thing going, and now you got a better opportunity. People are going to have better opportunities to go other places. But the program, the university that we all love is always going to be there. Always going to be there. And this program is so strong from the men who have built it to this point, including Tommy Lloyd, that it's never going to go away. You'll always find a great steward for this program. And we are fortunate that steward, or that boss, as I tweeted earlier today, will continue to be Tommy Lloyd. Welcome back to the Final Four here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We are at the Indiana Convention Center. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program. We want to hear your feelings about what transpired today. Our guy, Pat Forty, we had him on the pregame show 2 weeks ago in San Diego, asked the question that sparked the answer that Tucson and Southern Arizona and all of Arizona, because we own the state, had been waiting to hear, and that's that Tommy Lloyd was not going to leave Tucson and go to Chapel Hill. So I want to hear your thoughts today on that. First, I want to get the thoughts of JW Madden back. JW, is it you and me, or is it you, me, and David again today? I have no idea.
Well, David is here, but I don't have to turn his mic on if you don't want to. I mean, that's up to you.
Yeah, I can't see you guys, so I never really know exactly who's with me today.
We are both here.
Okay, so your guys' thoughts on Tommy Lloyd's decision not to leave Arizona.
I'm happy for the skeptic side of the fan base. I mean, you talk about the shell shock of 25 years of close misses, and I think that's what you feel. Tommy talked about that more recently, is when the crowd feels anxious when Arizona is starting to go the other side of a bad run, and they start biting their fingernails. And it's really reactionary to a big positive run on the court that the Arizona fans in McHale. And that's kind of the sentiment I feel you've gotten this last week. I mean, personally, I've said it many times. I was 99.9% sure that Coach Lloyd would be in Tucson for the long term. And that's mostly because he's a small-town guy. He spent 20 years on the bench waiting for the right opportunity. I don't know that he may have ever left Coach Few's side, if not for his respect for the Arizona program. And as much as North Carolina is one of those 2-3 best programs of all time, right? There's no doubt that you look at the names. I mean, Michael Jordan, Vince Carter alone, right? But, I mean, knowing Tommy and everything he's ever said about the old Pueblo and what Tucson means to him and the Tucson fan base. And this week, DK, what has Tommy said? He said, I can't wait for us to win so I can get more clout and use that clout to improve my own personal standing in the world. No, what he said was, it doesn't mean much to me, but I'm really happy for the Arizona fan base. He said that exclusively this week, how happy he is for the Arizona fan base. So personally not surprised, and I'm happy for all those fans out there who've been losing a lot of sleep, because I know that the Tucson community and the Arizona fan base love Tommy Lloyd. He's all about the right things. He says all the right things. He's true to his word. He's a real deal. He's the real same person every single time he's up there on the podium. So it's really easy to get behind a guy like that. And when you add most wins of any coach in their first 5 years, trip to the Final Four, all those things, it's just a great day for Tucson.
Yeah, and I think that the biggest thing is, again, the best part about this is seeing that he's going to be sticking around, and not just for, maybe a tweet. No, this was a very long contract extension. I believe it was 5 years was the extension on the contract.
The max any public employee in Arizona can sign is 5. So that's why you'll see a guy his contract might be signed for 5. 2 years later, it's 5. 2 years later, it's 5. They always keep it at 5.
Yeah. So the fact that it's a 5-year deal, but DK, I'm going to go ahead and have a little bit of a contradiction to what you were saying about how a name is not synonymous with the program or things like that. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, it is. It can be. And that's the biggest part about it, is that you need to have a name that shows stability. Let me ask you this. What do you think of when you think of the name Jim Boeheim?
I just literally 3 minutes ago looked up the record of Syracuse after Boeheim retired.
Yes.
It's 48-49.
Yes, exactly. Jim Boeheim, synonymous with the University of Syracuse. Mike Krzyzewski, synonymous with Duke. Dean Smith, synonymous with North Carolina. And these are guys that stayed there for almost 30-plus years with each of their universities. And let's think about this, too. We talk about the Big East and how important that conference was for basketball. No, how important were the coaches in the Big East that made people pay attention to it? We don't think about Georgetown anymore as much as we should, because John Thompson isn't there at the end of the bench. You don't have Nolan Richardson at the end of the bench for Arkansas. Yeah, John Calipari is a great coach, and I'm not going to ever say anything wrong about John Calipari other than the fact that I've always been very skeptical about his team.
Sure.
But Nolan Richardson is the guy you think of when you think of Arkansas basketball.
You know who I think of, DK, is Cheney.
Yes.
Because Temple used to be a really, really hard out, and I don't know what they've done since